Now this video is going to be on USC, which is another tax that people have to pay on their income. It's not as much as income tax, and it's a relatively new tax. It was only brought in about 10 years ago, but it's still a tax that people have to pay. And we do these questions the same way. That's the good news, the same way as we do the income tax questions. So this is the same question from we were doing in the previous video, from the Leaving Cert a couple of years ago, and it's about a woman called Fiona. And she earns a gross wage. Remember what that means? It means this is how much money she earns before any deductions have been made. And she earns $1,550 every fortnight. Now, whether it's every fortnight, every week, every year, it doesn't really matter. Okay, we work it out whatever the way they've given it to us. In this case, they've given us her fortnightly income, so we'll work out her fortnightly USC. She pays income tax. We're not going to worry about that in this question. She pays universal social charge. That's what we're doing in this particular video. And she also pays PRSI, but we're not going to worry about that in this video. Okay? So, by the way, they are the three major taxes that people pay from their income. Income tax, or PAYE, USC, universal social charge, or pay-related social insurance, shortened to PRSI. We've already looked at income tax, and this is on the USC bit. So let's be specific, and let's look at the actual percentages that she has to pay. So remember, before I scroll down, her gross income is $1,550 every fortnight. We'll need that in a moment. Let's look at this. And let's imagine that, like before, she piles up her income on the table at the end of the 2 weeks, every fortnight. She stacks up all that money, okay, in a big pile of cash sitting on the table. Now, to make a pile that high, she'd probably have to have it all in €5 notes. And even then, it wouldn't go that high. But suspend reality for a moment and use your imagination. There's her big pile of money. And, of course, how much did we say it came to? Because we want to write the gross up here. The total is $1,550. That's how much her income is every 2 weeks. Right, she's going to pay some USC on this. Now, there are 3 USC rates. Okay, 3. Income tax has 2. It has the 20% rate and the 40% rate. Or that can sometimes be 41%. And that's hard. So USC has 3 rates. So it's kind of a little bit harder. And how those 3 rates work are written here. She pays 1% on the first €462 that she earns. She pays 3% on the next $214 that she earns. And she pays, let's get yellow for this, she pays 5.5% on the balance. Now, highlighters are extremely useful in these questions because of the visual nature of them. So let's just break this lump of money into 3 parts. And we don't have to be specific. You know, we don't have to be exactly where 204 or 462 would be. This first part we'll highlight in green because that's the part of the question that deals with this part of our diagram. This first part, the first 462. The next part is purple because that's the part that deals with that percentage of her income. And then the final part is excuse me, is this part up here, which is going to be taxed at the highest percentage rate. So on this part of her income, she is going to lose 1%. On this part of her income, she is going to lose 3%. And on this part of her income, she is going to lose 5.5%. So what we need to do is work out exactly how much she is losing in each of those parts. There's going to be a bit of maths involved in this. Okay. Let's get a smaller pen for starters. So let's do the first part, down here, the green bit. 1% of what? Well, it says it in the question. 1% on the first 462. Okay, so 462 multiplied by 1%. That gives €4.62. So that's how much she's losing there. She's going to lose that from her income. Now the next part. 3%. 3% of what? Well, it's 3% on €214. Okay, so €214. Find what 3% of it is, because that's what she's going to lose. And that is €6.42. So that's how much she's going to lose there. And here's the tricky bit, the remainder. Okay, she's going to lose 5.5% of the remainder. Okay, the balance is another way of saying the remainder. So we need to work out how much is this? How much money is in that yellow part of the diagram? It's not 1,550. 1,550, remember, is all of it. It's not 462. That's just this part of it. And it's not 214. That's just this part of it. So how do you find how much is in the yellow part of it? Think about that now for a second. Just like the income tax question, we've got to get our gross, the amount that she earns before any taxes are charged. And we need to take away the parts that have already been taxed. She's already paid tax on this. How much is this? That's 214. And she's already paid tax on this. How much is this? That's 462. So what's left is what's in that yellow box. That's how much money she hasn't paid any USC on yet. So we've got to go to our calculator and we've got to do that, 462, and it comes to €874. So €874 has to be taxed at 5.5%. So €874 multiply it by 5.5% and you get €47.87. Now there her 3 USC amounts that she has to pay. I'm going to rub this out to make some space for myself. She's going to lose this, she's going to lose this, and she's going to lose this. So if we just add them all together, we'll see how much she's going to lose in total. So 47.87 plus 6.42 plus 4.62. She has a bill of €58.91. Okay? That is her total USC bill. Another bill. Now remember, in the previous video we looked at what she's losing in income tax, and that's a different bill altogether. Let's just scroll up to that for a second. We already worked out that she's losing €234 in income tax. Now we've worked out that she's going to lose another €58.91. So I think the key is with USC is the diagram. To break it up into 3 sections and to write the relevant tax rate beside each one and then do the maths and then add your 3 answers together. Let's try another one, but this time you're going to try it. And I think this came up in 2012, so it's relatively recently as well, and it's another USC question. Of course, I've skipped out question A and I've just put in question B. Question A is an income tax part, and we've already covered that in the previous video. So let's take a look at this question. It says Alan is the guy's name this time. He pays income tax. We're not going to worry about it in this video. And he also pays PRSI. We're not going to worry about in this video. We're just going to focus in on the USC that he pays and work out how much is he paying. His gross weekly wages, this is the important bit, are 510. That's his gross. So remember, in our little stack of notes, now the more you do it, you don't actually have to colour in this stack here. You just need to draw a box like that. Imagine that. Okay, let's colour it in right now. This is all our 50 euro notes stacked up, right? Okay, bing, 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 bing. And at the very top, we've got his gross, which is 510. This is his gross. This is how much money he has before taxes are deducted. He pays USC at the rate of. Now, there's going to be 3 rates in here. So let's see if we can find them. 2% on the first 193. 4% on the next 115, and 7% on the balance. So it's the same question that came up a couple of years ago again. So again, what do? We divide our little box down here into 3 parts. Okay, roughly. We don't have to be exact. 3 parts, and then we colour in the box similar to what the percentages are here. So 2% on the first 193. So we can colour that in there, you know, green. Some people like to write in that this goes as far as 193. They can do that. No need to confuse yourself though. And then purple would be the next box, because this is our next part in the question. And then yellow for the third one. Yellow on the remainder or the balance. This is the tricky one, the yellow part. Now, remind ourselves again, what's the percentages that he's paying? He's paying 2% on this one, 2% of that, 4% on that, and 7% on that. Now you might wonder, why are the percentages different? Well, each year the Minister for Finance changes the percentages up, sometimes down. Things change from year to year. And as well as that, in the Leaving Cert, they can't have it where you can predict what percentages they use, so they throw in different percentages. Right. Let's zoom in on this now. Now, maybe you could try and pause this video now and work out how much USC is he paying here, how much is he paying here, and how much is he paying here. And I'll just let you see the question as you're doing it. And give it a go. Pause the video and try and do it. And when you've tried, press play and see how you get on. Okay, I'm going to play on now. So if you've tried that and you're happy for me to continue, keep playing. If not, and you haven't tried it yet, pause again. Anyway, 2% of what? It's 2% on the first 193. So we need to get 193 and multiply by 2% to find what 2% of it is, and we get €3.86. Okay, 4%. 4% of what? Well, it's 4% on the next 115. So we get 115 and we multiply it by 4%. Oops, and see what we get. That's 4%, not 41%, 4%. And when we do that, we would get €14 and... No, we would not get €14. I'm doing this in my head now. What would you get? You would get... You get €4.60. Okay, €4.60. And then for the last bit, this yellow bit, this is where we need to be careful, because it doesn't give us the amount in the question. It just says the balance or the remainder. So how much money are we talking about here in this yellow part? Well, it's the 510, remember. Take away this part, and then take away this part, and then you'll be left with the yellow part. So it's 510, take away the purple bit, and take away the green bit. And when you do that, you get 202. So that's how much has to be taxed at 7%. Okay, and when you do that, you get €14.14. So now his total USC tax bill will be these 3 numbers added together.